Allô, allô? Le LinkedIn est à peu près 15 secondes en délai sur le StreamYard. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this, actually our first official webinar from Prevu3D. We've done a few with some partners like NVIDIA and everything else. This is the first one that we're doing hosted by ourselves. So far so good. Looks like there's no technical hiccups. That's always a stressful moment when you're doing webinars like this. So thanks for everyone that are coming in and are putting some comments. If you're not aware, you can actually put in comments and questions in the comment area. And obviously we will be more than happy to answer any questions you might have during this presentation. My name is Michel Besner. I'm the VP of Business Development and Strategy at Prevu. I'm really happy to be here, and I'll be sort of your host for the day. And I'm here with our founder and president, Nicolas Morancy, and I'll let Nick do a bit of an intro about himself and everything else.
Awesome. Thank you, Michel. Hello, everyone. Happy to see you all here present today. Super excited to share with you the technology we've built and the last piece, which will be all the latest and greatest beta features that we just released. From a bit of a background from the company, I used to design production lines in the food and beverage industry. And I was looking for a way to improve communication and collaboration. And this led us to look at reality capture data, 3D scanning data. And I was faced with the challenge that while 3D scanning is awesome, it's very hard to work with and very difficult to make it usable. So Prevu3D solution really aims to change that and brings this data to a lot of new stakeholders within facilities and environments. I look forward to see all your questions and hopefully I can answer them all. The presentation today will be mostly live demos, so please don't hesitate to ask your question and stop me anytime. I think Michel and Judy will be assisting us for this.
Absolutely. So I think that, like Nick said, we like things to be very interactive. So don't be shy to ask questions. Nick has a lot of great content he wants to show. But before we get into the weeds of things and really show the power of our solution and everything, Nick, maybe we can just talk a few minutes about, recently we announced this Series A funding that we just did. And I think that that's a lot of great news for us because it's a great support to have investors. Maybe you want to just provide some additional information about what it means from your perspective, the partners that we got on place, and what it's going to help us to do over the next short while.
Absolutely. So we went let's say we really invested for the first 5 years of our journey in technology, really finding ways to make something very difficult seems automatic and easy. And last year, with Michel joining in, we decided to go to market for the first time with a real serious approach. And over the last year, we ended up working with more than 50 customers, big brands in oil and gas, automotive. And we just got the first validation that we were into something big. And it was very exciting to see that the market was ready for a tool like ours. And this helped us validate the value and continue to get a very exciting roadmap to bring even more tool sets for the industry. So this milestone of raising capital is really because of you guys, because of the community, because of the incredible 3D scanning partners that we have around the world. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone for helping us reach that objective and for the market to be willing to invest in innovation.
Great, this is really good. Indeed, the past year, like I joined the company actually yesterday was my first year anniversary being the company, and it's been a fantastic journey because the excitement, the interest in the product is astonishing, and very happy in what we're seeing, and we've been growing the company with the funding. It's going to be a pretty exciting year. But I think that the best thing to do for us is really to show the product in action, because it's really where we see the value. We'll first start with a bit of a recap of everything that the product does, because obviously we have a lot of people attending today, and some of you might not know all the capabilities. One thing that's very important as you'll watch the demo is that we take point cloud data from different type of scanners, and what you'll see are unretouched data sets. This is not something that we've modified to make look better. It's as good as it will see when you're importing your point cloud into the environment, and you're able to interact and visualize. Our processing engine that's in the cloud allows us to automatically convert point clouds in a few hours, like overnight for the most biggest projects we've seen so far. And so it's very quick to go from a point cloud to a full 3D mesh. And so without stealing more thunder from Nick, I'll ask him to share a screen so we can then see all the beautiful stuff that the product has today. And then we'll move on to showing some previews of some of the technologies that now we're starting to be in beta stages with some of our customers to really bring to market over the next short while.
Perfect. Let's go. So let's start with this small room. Currently, we have a desktop application and a web application for the purpose of making streaming as efficient as we can for you guys. I'll stick mostly to the desktop application today. So one of the key aspects of what we do is that we convert point cloud to mesh. And for us, it's an idea that we don't want to make a compromise on either the visual aspect or the accuracy of the data. So typically, I'm pretty sure people by now have seen meshes, but for the most part, meshes are perceived as being a compromise because they're often very decimated or simplified. We make a solution that really work hard to preserve the accuracy, but also make the data much more lighter and consumable. So what you're looking at is not just a pretty picture, but it's a real high quality 3D model that you can start to work with. So in that specific case, obviously, this is a terrestrial laser scanner that helps us achieve this level of detail. But working with point cloud data, obviously this is a small room, but what we're talking about facility scale is very difficult. So by making this data into a meshed environment, we really make it easy to consume and a lot more interactive and gamified as compared to what you would see normally. So the first step being, we want to make the data accessible, and we want it to be as intuitive as we can, so we can really bring on board a lot of new people that were normally left behind. Another key advantage of meshes is that we can easily gamify the experience and automatically generate collision. So exploring an environment in the most immersive way possible on an entry-level laptop is now possible. Feature sets. So obviously, one of the key aspects of why people scan in the first place is to document their environment and get access to measurements. So looking at our measurement tools, it's sometimes difficult to get access to a precise measurement when you're working with point cloud data. The beauty of meshes is that we have opaque surfaces, so you don't have to look in every single axis to make sure that was a vertical measurement. And we only stick to surfaces. So as an example here, taking a vertical measurement, pretty easy. A bit harder one.
Can you measure pipes as well, Nick?
I can absolutely do, and I think that's one of the cool ones. Measuring diameter is not that easy after all. So kudos to the team for making that one work. So you can extract piping diameters pretty efficiently. All you have to do is not to pay. We don't like the 3-click method. We like the 1-click method. So easily, efficiently, you can also extract the diameter. And let me get back to you. For American standard units, or there you go.
This is cool. There's a question here about scanning electrical circuit cable trays. And
the beauty of scanner is also its limitation is we can only capture what the eye can see. So if you place your head where the scanner is and you have a good viewpoint on a cable tray, if I look here, well, it's not a tray per se. Oh yeah, there's a tray up there. Well, as long as I have a viewpoint, I'm going to be able to model it. And one of the aspects of our platform is that we really focus on delivering real data. So we don't make hole filling. So this means that if you have the information here, you can use it, and you don't have to. It's like you're not dealing with fake data that is often generated in meshed environments. One of the key aspects that I wanted to do for my role as a project engineer was to be able to communicate and collaborate better. And what I mean by that is that often brownfield environments are also subject to change, but you're not necessarily going to change the entire room. So how can I just go beyond being a viewer and start to bring editing tools that would be valuable to convey ideas and make pre-design analysis much more efficient? So the first tool set that we created for this purpose was a mesh cutting tool. And for some of you that never seen it, it's a pretty cool tool set to have.
it's actually a patent that we have, right, Nick? That we've patented this technique.
Yeah, kudos to Max for this. But yeah, we did have a US patent for this one.
Yeah. While you're doing this, I know there's a few questions about the type of scanners and other things. We support all the top, terrestrial scanners, SLAM devices like the Navis VLX. For images, we don't do imagery to 3D conversion. If you had photogrammetry data, we can ingest photogrammetry output in 3D meshes. But basically, we're focusing a lot on our work from supporting the 3D scanners that are needed for industrial manufacturing purposes.
That's right. Just going to clean up my space a bit with the measurements. So what you saw me do was to take an object in the scene and extract it. So this allowed me to not only look at the space, but start to edit it. One of the key elements for this is how do I start to figure out how to bring objects in and out of the space? Again, the beauty of meshes allow us to have very easy and efficient collision detections. So as you can see here, as soon as I hit that column, my object goes from red to green, and I didn't have to model anything and go into complicated workflows. I could even go a bit further. Let's see what I can do.
As we're doing this, there's some questions about what you have to do from a scanning perspective to get this quality. It's all about the density of the scan. So if you do more scanning stations, you can actually scan with lower quality, but more scanning stations to have more depth, more density. It will give us that type of quality that you're seeing here.
One of the cool latest feature that I think was not showcased yet is this ability to start to figure out a path to bring and extract maybe objects from the environment. So let's just see. Sometimes the challenge is not only to bring new equipment in, it's also to take the old one out. So we created this new tool set that allow our users to easily and efficiently create paths that are animated that allow us to really communicate and validate the way that we're going to go at dismantling environments. So as a reference here, I'm just going to show collision and keep my animation going. Let's have a look.
So there's definitely a lot of questions. Let me answer a few ones as I see. There's questions about the quality of the imagery. We do have a great engineering team that does amazing work in making sure that for each type of scanning devices that we support, that we optimize the output. So there's color calibration and other elements like that we do as part of our secret recipe that really makes it as good as you're seeing it. So that's definitely one of the questions that I've seen. The data that we host, actually, we're hosted on the Amazon Web Services in both Virginia in the US. So for American customers, that works well. And we also have now a data residency in Frankfurt, Germany for the EU customers as well. And we're going to add more of these Amazon instances as we go with our customers. So there's definitely good things there.
Awesome. Obviously, there's also the need for accepting what's been done before. So if I go here and I just place myself in top view in that room, for the sake of focus, I'm going to remove that animation pad just so we can focus. Looking at a space from top view in perspective is a great way to understand a place. And this is typically what engineers are looking at. But obviously, getting this level of detail from an environment on an AutoCAD floor plan is nearly impossible, or at least not worth it in terms of the effort that would be required. Out of the application, you can easily select this type of viewpoints and export them as ortho photos. This means you can take this beautiful scaled image, export it out as a DXF format, and start to work in CAD environments. You can also select all the objects in my scene and export them out in 3D formats or even point clouds. I'm going to show you guys just after this. In terms of the import, it would be very easy for you to import your AutoCAD floor plan and overlay it with reality and see any discrepancies. So we do support all the layers. You could import your DXF, DWG, and validate very efficiently if your AutoCAD floor plan is up to date. This is also true with most of the industry standard 3D formats. Obviously, now that I've cut my machine, chances are I might want to replace it with something else. So in terms of 3D model import, we support the classic EFC. So yes, if you have done BIM modeling, we do support the EFC format. We support STEP and IGES files, which are the most common export you're going to get from SolidWorks, Autodesk Inventor. And anything else, if you're thinking about OBJ, FBX, GLB, STL, and Ply, honestly, most likely we have a format that can be exported from your applications and imported in real time in 2 hours.
Also, with CAD BIM data, we also bring metadata hierarchy information as well. So it's not just the 3D models. There's a lot more intelligence that's brought in. Max size file, there's no really maximum file size, to be honest. Like we've done like really big projects and we haven't hit a limit per se. So, and from a point cloud perspective, we've had like terabyte large projects that we've imported and processed into our meshes. So it's pretty scalable.
I can almost hear the team in the background saying there's a limit to everything in life, but we're more than happy to be challenged. So per se, I'd be more than willing to be challenged at everything we say today, guys. So bring your 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte point cloud data set and let's see if it works.
Yeah. And Jamie's asking about IFC. Actually, we support IFC files as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So IFC, BIM models, and I think we are doing even more for you guys to be able to make this a final deliverable to your customers. So they get access to all this rich metadata that you create through your greenfield projects or maybe a building extension. So your end user really get to consume the data himself and does not rely just on a pastel color replica of his space.
I see another question about exporting as well. So yes, we can export in different file formats, OBJ, FBX, GLB, USD, and other things. Like there's definitely different ways of bringing in and exporting data out of Preview.
We also have a partnership with a Sketchfab. So if you're not familiar with Sketchfab, it has to be the largest 3D model database in the world. And it's pretty awesome because in some cases, when you want to import something in your room, you may not have in the very early days of your project the model for it. And going through Sketchfab, you can write just about anything and you're going to be able to find something that is pretty much what you were looking for in the first place. So for this ideation stage and communication of ideas, it's very, very valuable to go and just search through their library so so you can start to put your ideas together inside reality. In that case, that's a good, I guess, value. Um, if I go here, and I'm sorry, I'm looking to find the perfect, let's make it a
Scale.
small portion.
Yeah, there's a question from Corinne about supporting the LAS format. There's some support of it. Yeah, she'd contact us and we can talk about the details of what's supported regarding LAS files.
So really any 3D format, when it comes to the import, we can most likely support it. I can hear Prevu3D in the background telling me to say that we also support PBR materials. So as you can see here, it's why not make it even pretty and reflection. I can see like the reflection from that robot on top of the car. And I still want to, if anyone today has a 912 early short wheelbase, I'm definitely looking for one.
So there's a question about ETC7. Absolutely, that's the file format that we favor the most in bringing data from different scanners. So ETC7 structured with imagery is the preferred format. Like I said, we support a wide array of different devices. If you have any questions about a specific support or device, definitely email us at info@prevu3d.com. More than happy to assist you understanding the type of data that you would like to ingest as part of using Prevu3D.
That's right. So in that scene, I cut a machine. I've shown you that we can make edits and we can import files. And this is all done on desktop. But you can also go and start to publish this online. So if I go here, I decide to share this online because collaboration and this vision that we have to make the data accessible definitely aligns with the web, right? So what if you could make this design work on your computer, be the creator, but then have a way to make this accessible to everyone with a single web link? Well, this is the way we approached it. So from your desktop, you can have all the big power tools, editing tools. You get to benefit from all the performance you have. And from there, you can just go and publish online. So while this loads, maybe I can answer a few other questions.
Yeah, so there's definitely different ways from a deliverable perspective. So publishing a website, a web page, and other things like that. The data is running in the cloud for most of it, but if you're downloading the desktop application in the data sets, then it can be run on premises. So if you want to run, sort of the usage of the cloud capabilities, it can be done with the desktop application. Having said that, the point cloud to mesh processing is always done in the cloud right now. We use a very wide array of hundreds of machines that are processing the point cloud to mesh, so that's not possible to be running on a desktop configuration. But the data sets, once processed, can be pushed onto an on-premise situation for specific use case where you don't want the data to be residing into the cloud.
While this process is undergoing,
can you, Nick, can you show some of the attachment of documentation, PDFs and everything? We had some questions about that, so that may be good to show how we were able to document, and then we should move to the teaser technology showcases that we have prepared as well, as time flies.
As time flies. So the first part is really, we went with the easy route. So placing tags in the space, having the ability to categorize those by color codes or by names or by group. It can be very easy and efficient to start to attach data to your space. So in that case, I have my chiller. I could go on and bring the technical documentation, the reference manuals. Really, the fact that we are using this desktop application, you're not limited. You could literally just record voice, link it to a URL, and just attach any 3D information, PDFs and whatnot. So very easy to do. And all of this can also be published online. So you're able to easily document your space and turn it into an environment that is very valuable for all people that would go in that room.
So there's some questions about, yes, we do support the Navis VLX. I don't know if Nate, we want to show something there. Question from Mark. Hey, Mark, IoT data sensor integration. Absolutely, we start to do that. We've showcased one of our customers in Korea recently that has that with virtual dashboarding. We're doing more work in integration of telemetry, live data into the system. So that's definitely something that we're seeing as a great opportunity of expanding the type of digital twins that we're producing.
So you're making me launch 25 apps at the same time. Let's see exactly. I mean, that one is pretty cool. I still like it after showing it a couple of times over the last few
Yeah.
months. So this is kind of the idea. So now that we have reality, can we start to connect it with external database, external information? In that case, what you're looking at, obviously, I don't get to have the real data from our customers, but in fact, they do have access to their own servers. So what if I could put the line efficiency and all the IoT data and make reality the dashboard? That's a big part of our vision, is to be able to reconnect all the information from the digital space on top of reality. Another example that in that showcase is this robot that we could easily locate within the facility, because if we decide of a zero coordinate inside this space, we could easily just track the robot moving through the space in real time. So this was, let's say, a first showcase of where we're headed, kind of an insights of the future for us.
Yeah, I think so the questions are a bit more technical. And again, feel free to send us an email and we can go into more details. Obviously, there's a fairly large audience today, so we don't want to get into the can of worms of some technical discussions, but there's a lot of different type of integrations. We are working with different vendors to integrate CAD assets within our environment and other things. And you'll see from the upcoming technology showcase, we're going to show you that there's interesting stuff that's coming from our side.
So
this is a VLX, right? I think this is a data set.
So the beauty of the VLX, and I'm pretty sure that if you're a part of the 3D scanning community, you know that name by now, is really its ability to go fast. So in that case, this facility is extremely congested. Like there's stuff everywhere. And in many cases, the definition of the Navis VLX might be enough for a lot of valuable use cases. So when we're looking at our customer base, and they have very large sites, think about automotive plants, think about oil and gas. In many cases, they really appreciate the ability to go and capture the entire site very fast. And when needed, they do go back to terrestrial laser scanners. But the quality provided by the evolution of SLAM, and crossing finger here that a new generation will be coming out soon, is really opening the door to so much more adoption in the market. The ability to document a plant like this, we're talking over 100,000 square foot, by a single guy on site in a single day, is mind-blowing. Now we have the technology of capture in order to do it at scale and extend into areas that were not applicable to typical 3D scanning method just a few years back. So yes, the VLX, we are pretty excited about this, and it's well supported in our platform as well.
I know there's been some questions about enterprise level integrations. There's a lot of things we can't announce just yet, but we are indeed working to expand our integrations of our solution within the enterprise. So thinking about, integrations ultimately with, PLM, ERP systems, and asset management solutions, we are looking into that angle. Nothing to announce just yet, but yeah, we are definitely seeing the value in the demand for this type of integration as part of our solution.
So I guess I get to talk about the new stuff. And obviously, guys, I did not take the time to go into all the feature sets. The export of objects can be done and whatnot. But I think let's go into the exciting stuff and get to share with you what we think is the next logical step for the space. When we're looking at brown space environments or the built world reality, we really believe that there's an opportunity to go and use this data to start to gather information for everyone inside the facility. Typically today, the best method that is known is to go and take the data, trace over it in one of the CAD vendor application, and then attach data to it. But what we believe is that automation is the way forward. So thanks to our research team working very hard for quite a bit of months by now, we launched this new beta features that allow us to automatically segment spaces. So you remember that we take point clouds and we mesh them in the cloud. Well, now we also automatically can segment them in the cloud. It's not perfect, but what you're looking at now is not a single piece and single blob of information like a point cloud is, but actually we can now bring this concept of asset. So if I select that column, if I select that pump, if I select that chiller, making that process of adding information to a pin is no value no more. Now we're thinking about bringing information to an asset, which is a really big understanding and a game changer in our mind.
Yeah. And again, this is like segmentation automatic. There hasn't been any user interaction. It's part of our meshing processing engine. You upload your point cloud, we mesh it, we segment it, and that's an output without any user interaction. So it's pretty impressive to see that. That's a first just like grasp of it. And then of course, as you know, as we're going to finish the feature set, there'll be features to help you, fine tune what's segmented and how you're breaking it down. But that's a good example of how we're creating this automatically.
Pretty cool. Huh? I still love it to this day to just navigate through this. And you're going to be able to just group items together and skip the very time consuming modeling and give access to the non-technical users. Like, why are we doing this? Is because when you are not from the 3D space and you don't have this limitation in your mind, when you go inside a video game, you expect that object to be an object. You expect to be able to click on things. Well, that's exactly what we're trying to achieve as well. If we can make that process as fast and as easy and as fun as possible, then we're going to have something that can really start to enable a lot of new use cases that were not possible before.
Absolutely. So that's great to show the segmentation. Like I said, if you want to talk more about this, this is something that's in beta for our paid customers and a select group of beta customers, but we definitely can talk about this. But what about finding assets into the space? Obviously, when you have like these larger areas, finding specific gauges or specific signs or pumps or HMIs, how do we do that? Like, do we have something on this, Nick?
Yes, and I think I'm currently opening the app.
Perfect timing.
Good timing. I think you were quite well prepared.
I think I have the script in front of me.
Do you? I don't. That's for sure. I don't have one.
Yeah, I think that there's a comment from Mitchell there about insurance and finance. I think that what you'll see as the next feature is great for documenting large areas about the let's say if you want to find all the fire extinguishers, exit signs in the building, and so on. That's really something that we're going to show right now. That's pretty exciting for this.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen again. There we go. Charles, that created the tool. I'm sorry. I'm still using a beta version in the live feed. Okay, so I think Michel pointed it out, but we try to make tasks that are very time consuming and complex easy. And a big part of this comes from research and how we can apply maybe AI and deep learning to the information we have. This idea that we have now assets also means that we have a first level of hierarchy to our environment. But one of the key next step is how do I get to gather information about those smaller components? And how do I get to attach this to external database. You can see it as an Excel sheet, CSV file, or maybe you can go into SAP or any other really database that you guys use currently that you have out there. It's going to be most likely based on objects and similar objects. So what if I could go and find all the gauges in the facility in a few clicks? The new version that just released makes you do a couple of clicks and then offer you the entire list. I'm really using the early beta version for the sake of this demonstration. So as you can see here, I could go and just stick to the best version. But if I open to a more similarity, then I can see that I went from the blue gauges at first, then I'm starting to see other types of gauges appear. And ultimately, it's showing me every single gauge in that room. And I could start to just categorize all those gauges. And let's continue to go and think out loud. The next logical step would be to link this to live data, maybe. If we have the sensor information, why not display it on top of reality? So that's really a super exciting advancement and toolset that we just released that allow us to do finding assets in a room, generating information and reports. Very, very, very efficient. What about
I like the comment from Bill that it looks like a CAPTCHA. It is indeed like very similar in making it very easy to just confirm what the AI is providing you as guidance on the similar features. And in a few minutes, you're able to document. And some of the demos we've tried, we found actually gauges or signs that we couldn't find by just navigating because they were hidden between different elements. With this, it makes it all automatic.
Yeah, and especially the newer version is pretty cool because you get to click a few ones and it's just gonna tell you like, oh well, there's 143 HMIs in that room. I'm just gonna go and go a bit fast so you guys don't. I think you get it by now, but it's pretty cool. So how do I get to focus on what matters, find those matching objects, maybe generate reports? This really opened the door to a lot more efficiency when it comes to documenting its space. And that's really what we're after now. I think this pre-design analysis tool set that I showed you earlier was the first step that we proven that we could solve issues. Now, we really want to have impact to people outside of the engineering group because we have the data, the quality is there. How can we actually start to attach information for health and safety, for whatever you can have in mind? I think this gamified environment that is now fully documented could bring so much value to everyone going into that room. So I don't know exactly how many we have, but this is like 60 plus tags. And if I navigate that room, you're going to see tags everywhere. And some that I know that space here has gauges that I might not have found otherwise. So yes, there's a tag up there. That gauge, I did not see it. I was not going through that tool set. So pretty cool stuff, pretty exciting stuff.
I know there's a question about if you're finding gauges in one project, does it help another project? At this point, they're individually managed, but obviously there's AI that we've built that as we improve the quality of our finding of assets, it benefits all the customers, but there's no cross-project sharing of a specific calibration of the asset finding for this time.
I think being agnostic first is important. We have a lot of customers from the oil and gas field asking us to find specific objects. I think that's the next logical step. But for now, whatever you put in that scene, it's going to be automatically segmented and you're going to be able to find matching objects. And if we want to go and be very specialized and start to recognize objects so we can classify those objects, it's just next step. So you have to give us a moment for us to be able to build it, but it's gonna be happening.
So this is great. I think that I don't think we've answered all the questions. There was a lot of questions being asked. If we didn't answer your questions, we are definitely wanting to answer everything. Most likely it's going to be offline. So if you want to email us I already gave us the info address, but I think Julie's going to put also our personal emails of myself and Nicola. So if you want to reach out to us directly, we're very responsive. We like to talk to customers about opportunities and how we can help you being successful in using Preview. I think there's one last customer question here, like what does onboarding look like for the customer? Onboarding is very easy, actually. The application can be learned very quickly. It's been designed to be easy to use. What's great is like on both sides, like you can have, if you're a service provider, you can actually provide managed services using Prevu3D. You can actually give access to specific projects into your Prevu3D instance, or we can work in delivering an instance of Prevu3D for end customers as well. So there's different ways of delivering this. Like we've mentioned before, we're deliverable on both web desktop experiences. You can publish web links. You can even put an iframe of a viewer of Preview into a intranet or a web-enabled application. So there's different ways of providing delivery. Nick's just showing one of the latest features we've done. Again, like how do you help issues of planning accessibility within a site or a building space? So having a wheelchair type of avatar is definitely one of the latest extensions we've done on that. So yeah, good stuff. I mean, thanks for all the comments. I think thanks for everybody for having joined us today. I think that we really appreciate the feedback, the comments, the suggestions. I think that for the ones that have been following us for a while, they know that we're always, focusing on delivering features that matters to our end customers and keep on giving the feedback. And reach out to us. We're more than happy to talk about your different businesses, your projects. We have people available to help you take your work in reality capture and creating true digital twins like you're seeing here to the next level. And so we're happy to talk to you after this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for attending today. I look forward to see all the people dropping massive point cloud data to our platform to try to break it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Goodbye.